Hello, this is the Brooklyn Jeff podcast with my co-host Jesse.
Hi.
And we're going to be talking about some topics that are relevant to our community, and hopefully you'll get some good opinions on what we think. And Jesse and I are complete opposites, so I hope it works out great for everybody.
That's hot. Yeah, totes. So let's get started. So the first thing I want to talk about is keeping up with the Kardashian finishing. As you guys know, Kardashians became like the best big thing we have here in America since Kim Kardashian's sex tape. I don't have anything against it. We all have to do our own things to survive and just try to do whatever we need to be popular. But Mama Chris knows how to milk it. Tell me about it. She saw this really handsome, rich daddy vibes inside the airplane where she was a flight attendant. She married him. She became filthy rich. And it's it's living since then.
The only thing about the Kardashians that I can say is I don't watch it that much, but I'm pretty glad it's canceled. Sorry about that. However, I got to give her credit. She's become a billionaire, very successful. Her whole family does. And you know what? It's not easy to become rich in America. So more power to the Kardashians. Good luck in your new careers. And I'm happy that you guys are off the air.
That's kind of messed up. The Kardashians have created so much culture just being on there to begin with. They're actually some of the first pioneers of the reality show industry. Wait, so because you don't watch reality TV shows, so I imagine you never watched Girl Next Door.
What?
Girl Next Door. It's not a porn movie. That's what the... I'm serious, guy.
Girl Next Door?
Girl Next Door. Yeah, it's called Girl Next Door.
I got a neighbor. She's a girl next door. What are you talking about?
So Girl Next Door was this show. It was actually the first reality TV show on the E! Network that included my favorite and fan favorite, Holly Madison. Hey, girl.
Oh, I remember her on that show.
What about Bridget? Bridget. I don't remember her last name, but I met her when I was working for Honda Hayride. She's a sweetheart.
I know who Holly Madison is because I had her edition of Playboy.
You had her? Did you ever go visit her at Peep Show in Vegas?
No. Why would I?
So you've never met a Playboy bunny then?
Have I ever met a Playboy bunny?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I don't know if I've ever met one. I met one who worked in Las Vegas.
Who?
No, not in Las Vegas. I'm sorry, in Atlantic City. But this was at the Playboy Hotel when I was a young and handsome guy. She actually,
so it means you're TJ.
Do not say that. I was walking down the beach and this really pretty girl was there, and I was walking by her and I asked her if she would want to go hang out with me, and she actually did. And all my friends were cursing at me. She was in the Playboy Club in Atlantic City. However, I've never dated a Playboy bunny, nor have I ever gotten really close to one. So the answer is I don't know much about the Playboy bunnies except for the centerfolds that I had in my room.
It's not called Playboy Club. It's called the Playmate. To begin
Playmates. Well, when you have to died, I realized one thing. I never would think a guy who had so much action and so many beautiful girls around him would want to go and pass away. So I know he did everything in his power to try to live as long as he could, Jess.
Hugh Hefner?
Yeah, he didn't want to die.
Don't even get me started with Hugh Hefner. Have you even read Holly's book, Down the Rabbit Hole? This is not sponsored.
No, I have never. And not only have I never read it, I don't think I ever will read it. It doesn't seem like the rabbit hole is something that interests me.
Okay, then.
I'm if it's a book on tape and I could play it on the way on a drive, maybe I'll play it. But the answer is I'm not interested. I'm not going to watch it. Holly Madison made a lot of money being a pretty girl, and she deserves all the money she's made. And she was his fiance, his wife for a long time. So whatever she's got financially from it, I'm happy for her.
Well, Holly has been married to a shit ton of people. She says that the worst marriage she ever had was being married to Hugh Hefner. And by you not reading that book, then that's very machista, patriarcal.
Well,
because she's a woman. You don't want to read her side of the story.
No, it's not. Who said that? I didn't say that.
You just said.
When a woman marries an older man for money, do you want me to? She's supposed to be happy.
Is that it for money?
What did she marry? She married him for love, and my name is Mickey Mouse. Okay, come on. She didn't marry him for love. Okay.
Let's talk about sugar babies then. So what do you think about sugar babies? If that's what you're talking about.
Sugar babies? You mean like girls who want to be with older men who have money?
For a second, I thought you were going to say sugar babies are the candy.
Sugar babies are candy, yeah.
Yeah, because you're that old.
I was thinking about a sugar daddy and a sugar baby is like a sucking candy, but then I thought sugar babies, you're talking about girls who like older men for money?
Yeah.
I think, thank God for them. Okay, what do you think I think? I'm fucking 60 years old. What do you think? I hate them? Thank God there are girls who want to be with older men. Otherwise, I'm going to have to date someone who's my age.
So when you think about it... Damn, so now you're ageist against women in their 60s then. So now that comes into our next topic, which is the Bill Gates divorce. So, you're basically agreeing that Bill could, he allegedly, from what I've read online, and they say that he cheated on his wife, and that's why she got the divorce right away.
No.
So are you saying it's okay to cheat on women over 60?
Would you please stop? Did I say that? First of all, Bill Gates' wife was actually going. She allowed him to be with his ex-girlfriend once on trips. His ex-girlfriend, so she actually permitted it. Bill Gates' wife knew what he was doing. She had the money to find out. She could have followed him at any time. She knew he was cheating on her, but basically, either she was financially entangled with him, or she just didn't want to leave because she already knew. Women are nuts. When it comes to men cheating on them, women know.
So you're saying women are nuts now? You're saying that women aren't logical?
Oh, you are. You're going to get me. You're going to get me destroyed by all the women of America. Please, I love women. They're great people. I love them. I care about them. I just have an opinion. And it's not that I don't like them. It's just that my opinion is she knew about it because it said in the paper she allowed him to go on a vacation with his ex. What do you think they were doing? Playing tiddlywinks? Checkers?
All I could say to this is hashtag okay boomer.
Okay,
I that in big captions, guys. Hashtag okay boomer.
That's what I think.
That's what all these old people, well, I like to call them vintage people, think,
They call me vintage. This is a guy called. This is very sweet. Call me vintage.
It's a nice way of saying you're old.
Thank you. At least I've been called something vintage, like a fine wine. I got better with age.
I don't know. I think more like with like some facial.
There's absolutely no way to get a compliment out of this young man. So good luck to everybody who dates him. Okay, now let's go on to another thing.
So wait, now that we're still talking about slang, because that's technically slang. What we're talking about, what we were just talking about, that was slang. So let's talk about sliving and totes. So there's this, sliving is the new word that Paris Hilton, who is also one of the pioneers of the reality show industry, created. Like,
I remember, I did watch that show with her and her friend. I don't remember the name of it, but I did watch it. Her and her best friend were on a show together. I don't even know if
Nicole Richie.
I don't know if they're talking anymore, but I remember the show.
Dude, that show was badass. Like, I just started watching the reruns of it, and they're pretty funny. It's like, you could like walk in a bathing suit into Walmart. Like, that's so ratchet. It's like right now you see people going into there with their hair dyes and their like little supermarket bags walking into Walmart, but you see them walking into Target, is like, no, they have their hair curled and all nice. I don't know. I remember I watched the show. Was I intrigued by it? It intrigued me, but I don't know. I'm beyond reality TV. I'm now into My Octopus Teacher, a cerebral, beautiful show that has destroyed calamari for me forever. I will never eat calamari ever again after The Octopus Teacher. It's just impossible. Have you ever seen the movie? Well, we're talking about sliving, but okay, then we'll go right into octopus people then. Well, the only
Octopus Teacher,
sorry.
Won an Academy Award.
Oh, okay, cool.
Try to keep up with some things that are more relevant than the Kardashians and Paris Hilton.
I'm sorry, we have to watch entertainment. That's why we watch productions like Roma. Have you watched Roma on Netflix? There's Roma. No. There's the song where Lady Gaga did Shallow, A Star Is Born. We have No Man's Land that just won an Academy Award and a Golden Globe for the best film. And it's actually a woman producer and director. Just throwing that out there now. And so there are actually better films than that one. Academy Award.
No, you have to watch the movie in order to see it. It's really a great movie.
All I could say about Octopus and Calamari is that they're really bad parents. I just went to the Science Center with my little brother like 2 weeks ago, and we watched this film inside. We went into that movie theater they have there. I think it's called an IMAX. When I was a kid, the movies were in 3D, but due to what, I don't want to say it because we don't want to get demonetized. What's it called? Now you don't have to wear the 3D glasses. But anyways, it was one scene where the calamari was having babies, right? It's like, whoa, spicy. And then after a while, they lay eggs. Anyways, once they lay their eggs...
They die.
No. Besides them dying, they leave. They just ditch the eggs there.
No, because they die. They leave. If you watch My Octopus Teacher, they die right after that. So after that, they're exhausted. They only
die when they're 2. And they usually have their kids at 1.5. No,
not according to this movie. They died at 1. As soon as they have their babies, they are exhausted. Then that exhaustion creates them leaving their nest. They have no energy, and then they pass away. And then in this particular movie, they get eaten. So, unfortunately.
Now, what's your degree in again?
Psychology.
Well, then you shouldn't be talking because you don't have a degree in biology.
How dare you? What is your degree in?
I have a degree in political science with a minor in kinesiology, and I also studied business, agriculture, theater.
Are you claiming that you're more intelligent than me at this moment?
Of course I am.
Okay, well, it's a misconception.
I had a 4.10 GPA in high school, and I got into 10 school, so yeah.
Listen, have you ever seen the movie Seaspiracy? Seaspiracy is a movie about the fishing industry and the sea industry and what's in the ocean. Okay. And when you see the movie, you'll see that the ocean is tons of plastic, and most of the ocean is full with nets, fishing nets, and how they slaughter fish, kill them indiscriminately, and how that the seafood industry is causing almost a extinction of fish. And it's very sad. And then when you see what's in the water, it's very tough to eat seafood after you watch that, because the water is polluted, it's full of garbage. So that's kind of something that you should watch. This is for you after you watch the Kardashians, after you watch Paris Hilton. If you have time, try those two.
So then have you watched Seaspiracy then? That's like one of the most common documentaries you see.
No, I haven't seen that one. I watched one about, what's the name of that hotel?
Hotel California.
No, I forgot. But let's go on to something.
Oh, the Cecil Hotel.
Cecil Hotel.
Dude,
yeah, watch that one. Yeah,
crazy. I watched that shit. And okay, let's get started about that. I actually used to go jogging around there. When I used to work for the politicians here in LA, we would always get random complaints about that hotel and the situation about it, but we really didn't like pay attention to it.
It looks like a dangerous place to me.
It is. Well, the location is. It's right next to Skeet Road. So the whole thing that happened with Melissa Lang, I think it was, from my personal comment, I don't know if this has to be cut out. I don't know about you guys, but I think it was part negligent of Melissa for not taking her medication, but another part would probably be the negligence of her parents, knowing that your daughter, is mentally unstable or has emotional problems. I feel like they should have been like, hey, take your sister, love, or something like that, just as a precautionary kind of thing to prevent this whole thing. Another thing I would like to say is the negligence of the hotel, because from what I saw in the documentary and from separate research, it was very easily accessed to get to the roof of that place. And if, from what I understood, there was people that didn't have the best intentions up there at that time that it happened. They probably, they left that thing open. They saw her. They probably just locked her.
They filed a lawsuit and they lost.
I know they filed a lawsuit.
My opinion of it is that video in the elevator, it's hard for me to figure it out. But what can I say? You know what? I don't know why a girl would go swimming in a water tank. I don't see it that way. It looks to me like somebody might have forced her in there, in my opinion. It just doesn't seem like some young girl is going to go up, climb a ladder, jump into a water tank and die like that. It just makes no sense to me. It feels like there's foul play there, but how do I know? I just don't know. And you know what? It's too late to relive it. I feel bad for the family. I feel bad for the hotel. Now, my next topic is homeless encampments. As I'm driving here, I want to discuss homeless encampments. I drive here and I go up Venice Boulevard, and right by Sepulveda is maybe 200 tents on each side. Now, I know it sounds insensitive, but there's got to be a better way to deal with the homeless people than letting them have encampments and porta potties and turn areas into really, really low quality of life for the neighbors. And I have neighbors who are homeless now because I live in Venice. And believe me, I like the homeless people at some degree, but when you live near them, you realize that they're not the greatest neighbors. They scream, they light fires, they fight, they run across the street. Some of them go crazy in the parking lot. And most of the time, some of your things, and not always, I'm not blaming them for things, but there are things that happen to your car that you wouldn't have happened if homeless people weren't living there, such as removal of items, removal of your emblems, things of that nature. And plus, it just makes the whole environment a little bit scary for people.
So my take on the homeless encampments is I've tried doing a lot in my community where I live, because there's this place I like to call the island in my hometown. And before where I live, it's a very small community. It's super family friendly and family oriented. And there wasn't really any homeless people until they started kicking them out of downtown LA, like where the metro, what's it called? Grand Central Station. That's what it's called. So they started kicking them out. They started migrating this way to where I live. And we've been doing a lot. Like we've been doing petitions, letters, phone calls. We've been trying to do our best to get rid of it, because a lot of people may think like, they're houseless people or homeless, whatever they prefer. I don't like using the term hobo because I feel like that's very disrespectful. disrespectful towards these people. They just need help. A lot of those people are mentally,
they're drug addicts, mentally ill,
alcoholics, and they need help.
They
and
do.
I feel like right now, one of my personal friends, Mr. Mayor Eric Garcetti, I don't know if you saw that he opened this little tiny home encampment for certain.
I've heard about this. I've heard about it. Yes.
Yeah, I think it's actually a great idea. I know it's a lot of money that's being invested in that, but I feel like maybe like after a year we could see how it's going, and if it works, we could spread it around, not just here in LA or California. It could be spread out to other places where there's problems with the homeless.
They're going to try a lot of different things. I don't know the answer. I just think it's a very tough thing for people of California to have this. It turns our city into a not as beautiful of a place as it used to be. And I don't know if it doesn't really matter to me. I live here, but for people who are tourists and other people, it looks kind of strange to see lots of homeless encampments around. And some of it is real dirty and really unsafe and unsanitary. But God bless them. I hope they all get well, and I hope they all find happiness sometime in life. Why are people moving out of California, Jess? You got any ideas on that?
Yes, I do have an idea. So I like traveling a lot. I go out a lot before, all the time. I took a trip to Washington, D.C. I was coming back from D.C. I stopped at the airport. They stopped us in Louisiana. I was on a scale. And I was talking to this old lady that she wanted to use the electricity plug that was in between my seat in the waiting room area. She's like, hey, can I borrow? I'm like, yeah, girl, go ahead. I connected it for her and everything. And then she started making a conversation with me. It's like this old lady in like her mid-70s. She was like, oh, so do you live in California? I'm like, yeah, I live in LA. And she's like, oh, well, I used to live in LA, but right now I'm just going to go visit my son. But I don't like living in LA. I'm like, why? What's your whole big deal about LA? She's like, it's just... there's things I don't agree with.
What?
And it's too free. It's gonna become the next Cuba. And it's going to be a disaster. And then I was like, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. So I'm like, if that's the way you think, I'm open to it, but I feel like California is beautiful because we have oceans, we have deserts, we have forests, and you could just really be whoever you are or whatever you want. There's people that identify themselves as trees at one point, you know what I mean?
Well, I think something different a little bit about it. It's a little bit, I don't care about the liberal politics. I just care about, right now we have a district attorney who's allowing some of the criminals to be released. That kind of is a little bit too liberal for me. There's less penalties for criminals. I don't really like that. But I love California. But the cost of living is high. It's hard to make a living here, and everything's expensive.
I feel like if you want to make a living here, all you have to do is just hustle. Like for me, yes. I've been working since I was 13 years old. I run my own businesses. I'm going to shout myself out. Follow me on Instagram, Little Devil's Pastries. I run Little Devil's Pastries. It's an online pastry shop. I started when I was 13. It was during the time when we were in a recession. My dad didn't have a job. My dad was unemployed. He was getting unemployment. And my parents had no money, and it was very difficult financially. So I started at school. I would give away brownies to like some of my friends. And then after a while, my friend Emmeline, who I don't talk to anymore because of personal reasons we have against each other, she told me, hey, why don't you sell them? And that's how I started my first business. I would secretly sell under the table in little white packets, with a ton of powdered sugar. A lot of my friends would say very cool stuff about that. And I would make up to $300 a week just selling brownies in high school. And then from there, I started doing my tutoring business, the Nerdy Adam Tutoring Services. Find me on Craigslist. And I've been running that since I was 15. And then after that, I started everything else. The tiny homes I helped my uncle sell, I started doing working in politics with my degree, and then I ended up in this job, and then I have my bartending and my face and body painting services. Find me on YouTube, The Makeup Effects Goth, winky face.
My friend Jesse here is using this particular podcast to advertise himself, and I think he's doing great. He's really a hustler. He's not a lazy kid. And you know what? Nowadays, it's important for people to have a work ethic. And Jesse likes to work, and he likes to get involved in things. And I'm proud of him because I worked when I was young, and I think it's a good thing. I'm not sure it's the way the young people are dealing with things right now, but whatever. Now, I want to have another discussion about Bitcoin.
Wait, no. So now that we're talking about hustling, what do you think? There's a statistic right now that's coming out that says millennials don't want to work, and that they're being considered one of the laziest generations of this current time compared to everyone else. What's your thoughts on that?
Millennials don't want to work. I'm going to have to say that I agree. They're trying to find different ways to make money, but they don't really want to sit and do hard work. I really don't think it's the same as it used to be. And I'm not saying that they're lazy people. They're just finding new avenues to make money. And hard work and doing things disciplined and being in an office or working like that, I don't think millennials really want to do that. Now, I can't generalize because there's a lot of hardworking kids out there. And I think anyone who does what you did and tries to work all their life is going to make money. But if you don't try in life and you just think money is going to come into your pocket by praying, it doesn't. Many nights when I'm broke, I always go, God, can you put money in my wallet? I wake up in the morning and you know what? Nothing is in there. Okay? You got to work. Working is part of life. No one likes it. No one loves it. No one's happy at it. But you know what? It's part of life, and that's why they call it work. They don't call it play. They call it work.
So what do you think about influencers and TikTokers? Do you think that's working, or do you think that's just...
You know what? I don't know anything about it. I'm new at this thing right now. This is my first experience with this. If you could influence people and you could get people to buy a product or do something and you become famous from that and you could earn money, as long as you're earning money and you're not part of the system where you're taking money from the government, that you're earning money, I'm okay with it. Just earn money any way you want, as long as it's legal and as long as you're working it. I don't care how you make it. I really don't. Just do your best to come up with something that makes you money. And I don't like it when people are lazy or don't try. That's all. Because you know what? Sometimes if you try hard, you might fail 10 times and you might succeed once. And that success may be something that brings you a tremendous amount of financial success. But if you don't try, you'll never succeed. So you just got to keep trying till you succeed. Now, I've got a comment to make about this shoe called Crocs. Let me tell you something. I hate Crocs. I think they're ugly. Okay? I don't care how comfortable they are. Moccasins are comfortable and they're not ugly. Wear moccasins. Okay? Go on Minnetonka moccasins and wear them. Why do you got to buy plastic shoes that are round, that look like baby shoes? I don't even know what they look. How did they become popular? I don't want to insult Crocs because they'll probably sue me, but I don't get it. And like, I don't get some products. Crocs is one of them. I just don't get it.
What are moccasins?
Moccasins?
Yeah.
You don't really know what they are, really?
No.
Moccasins are like they're made from like cowhide. They're old school. Like, I don't want to say they're made like Indians wore them, because I don't even know if American Indians wore them, but they're like a native shoe that's very soft. It's made of like a calf skin. It's very, very soft. It's tied. It slips on. It's really a comfortable shoe. I mean, and it could be trendy one day, because I think they're extremely comfortable. Go online, look for Minnetonka moccasins, and look for a pair. I'm telling you, they're as comfortable as any shoes you'll ever wear.
Well, the only sandals I wear is Italian leather gladiator sandals from Designer Shoe Wear. But yes. I think Crocs, for me, I feel like they have a very strong story, especially with the pandemic right now. Crocs actually donated a ton of their Croc shoes to a lot of hospitals to help them out, because their feet are very uncomfortable. Oh, those are moccasins. I actually used to have a pair of those when I was in high school. Those were the lazy shoes I didn't want to wear, just in case. But yeah, I think Crocs have a story. They've known how to market and sell themselves, and I think they're made out of rubber. I don't think they're made out of plastic.
Okay, you know what? They're successful, so how can I comment on them, really? I mean, I don't know what people buy. You know, when I was a kid, I worked in a couple different businesses, and some of the things that people purchased that I really never thought would be purchased were purchased more than the things that I thought were purchased. So I don't really know what the American consumer wants. I worked in a store once, and this guy sold these chenille sweaters. They were multicolored. They looked like patchwork. And he said to me, Jeffrey, I want a space in your flea market spot, and I want to sell these sweaters. And people would walk by, pick them up, and go, oh, how much is that? And they would buy them. And I'd be like, that is ugly. But you know what? I never know what people like. If it's popular and it's comfortable, God bless them for making a lot of money and sticking to it.
Now that you're talking about the flea market, I actually have a funny story. When I was a kid, I didn't really have a lot of, cash back in the days. My parents, I'm from a working,
I understand.
I'm from a working household. But this is funny because my cousin and I, we used to go to the flea market together with our parents, because her dad and my mom are siblings. And I remember one time back then, the Hello Kitty purses were so trendy where we were kids. Like, everyone in the elementary school had one. And then my cousin was like, Dad, I want one. So we go to the flea market, we're in line to buy one. And then we come home and I call her on the phone when I think I was like 7, like, hey, did your dad actually get it for you? She's like, yeah. I'm like, so how does it look like? Back then, we didn't have text messages, so she couldn't send me a picture. She mailed me a postcard with the picture to my apartment, and I saw it, and it said, Hello Gato. It was the fake version of it. It's the flea market version.
You know what? The flea markets were really a great place to buy things in the days. I still like to go to them. I go to some of them sometimes in wherever I can find them, because I like looking around. I like meeting the people, and unfortunately, I like discounted clothes and discounted things. I like things that are a little bit off-priced. Maybe that's from growing up poor. Even though I'm Jewish and people don't understand this, there are poor Jewish people who are raised. I grew up poor. I didn't have any money. My parents were very, very poor, and I ate free lunch in school, and we qualified for it. And I worked my way through school. I got a job as soon as I could do anything that somebody would pay me, I did.
Okay, guys, so let's talk about a recent current event that just occurred recently, 2 days ago. And it happened in one of my hometowns. I like to consider it my hometown because my parents are from there. It's Mexico City. 2 days ago at 10:30 of the night, breaking news occurred in El Canal Milenio or Foro TV, whichever channel you like to see from your Mexican news. The gold line, the gold rail, which they consider over there, broke down, and two of the trains that had, from what I understood, it was a full house because I believe it was the last train of the day. They were going through one part going towards Zapoticlan, and the train just dropped. The whole tram, the concrete, the trails, and the two las bajones, the two little train carts, they fell down. It broke down. It squished all the people in the little cars that were going down. And as of right now, it's 25 people have been reported dead, and over 72 people are still considered missing at this point. Their family members who have not been able to find their loved ones. The current government of La Ciudad de Mexico is doing this big forum. I think it already happened. It's at 2:30 Hora de Mexico, time of Mexico, which over here is like around 12-ish, 11-ish, where they were discussing about the bodies and how they were going to be rediscovered,
You know what, Jess? Life and disasters and all kinds of terrible things happen all the time to even really good people. I mean, look at the 9/11, how many people died. Look at plane crashes, all kinds of terrible things. Yachts sink, boats sink, things happen. And Mexico is a country where they're really struggling economically, even though their people work very hard. I mean, they are some of the hardest, most disciplined and nice people in the world. It's a poor country, and they don't really focus so much on spending money on fixing things, I don't think, as they do in the United States. And even in the United States, where we've got tons of money and we spend money and give money away, actually, we don't even have the greatest safety records on our airplanes. We certainly have bridge problems every once in a while. So it just happens. Unfortunately, Mexico is known to be poor and a little bit lax on possibly upkeeping on these things. And I feel very bad for the families who lose loved ones. And I just want everybody to remember that life is short. Your time on earth is not guaranteed. And live for the moment. I don't say spend money or waste your money or go broke or anything like that. But just remember, you don't have a guarantee on length of time in your life.
I agree with you. Like from what I understood, the gold line in Mexico, that one was just new. They had just opened it in 2012. So it's been like, less than 9 years at this point. And it fell. And they had registered that since the beginning, the train wasn't done right because, financial things. It's actually known to be one of the most expensive trains in the Ciudad de Mexico to be done till this day. I think it's just preposterous and it's a negligence. And I love the current administration of Mexico, but I feel like at this point, like it's being spread all over Instagram. I think what is currently needed is just justice. And we as Mexicans, Chicanos, Latinos, we need to unite and help these people throughout this situation. Like Mr. Jeffrey was saying, life is too short to be living stuck in your own mind. It's like through this whole COVID situation, a lot of people my age and the young demographics went through suicides. They went through emotional distress and just various things that it's not the end of the world. There's always a solution to everything, but we just gotta reflect and reconsider. And yeah, I think that's one of the most key things to think about. Like my mom says, cuando te toca, te toca. When it's your turn, it's your turn.
And the only thing that I can say about life that I've learned as growing older is that somebody once said this to me, or I heard it on the news: if something is going to break, it ain't going to be me. And that's how I have to live your life.
Exactly. Live life to the fullest and live life as crazy as you want.
And be tough. Find what makes you happy, and don't let yourself get into if you get into a depression, try to figure out a way out of it. Don't lay in your room and cry about it. Just do your best to figure out a way out of it if you can. Life is too short to be sad. Smile. Good luck, and God bless everybody.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in.
Bye.
Bye.